we go. Welcome, everybody. Maria, Jose, and Enriquetta, thank you so much for being here. Everyone, this is the Bon Vivant virtual visit of Ronsel do Sil from Ribeira Sacra in Galicia, northwest Spain. Enriquetta is Maria Jose's daughter and will help kind of translate where we need help translation. And yeah, thank you both for being here. It's a pleasure. It's really nice to be with you.
It's a pleasure.
Good, good. So
thank you very much.
Of course. No, thank you. And so to kind of start, what we'll do, and for those of you watching, the amazing wines of Ronsel do Sil, I can't tell you how excited I am about this estate and about these wines. Honestly, we've been wanting these wines in our portfolio for 8 years now, and in the past year, we finally are now able to import, and we're so excited to have them in the United States with Bon Vivant Imports. And so these are current vintages that we have in stock. If anything sounds amazing and intriguing, please reach out to me. I'd love to get samples in your hands so that you can check them out. But in the meantime, we'll tell you about the history, about Ribeira Sacra, about the wines. I'll taste through things and talk about it a little bit. And let's go from there. So first, I want to share my screen and kind of talk about where Ribeira Sacra is. If you two want to kind of help me figure out, you know, in Spain, and let's talk about where Ribeira Sacra sits.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Mom, cuando estés preparada, mamá, puedes hablar de la localización.
Okay. Ronsel do Sil is located in Parada de Sil, Ourense, in the denominación de origen Ribeira Sacra. The winery unite human and family history, nature, respect, architecture, craftsmanship, design, landscape, everything reflected in each one of the wines, made with indigenous varietals through natural viticulture and sincere winemaking. Ronsel do Sil has a philosophy based on natural heroic viticulture with the maximum respect for nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Ribeira Sacra, usually Galicia is associated with white wines, but Ribeira Sacra is one of the few regions of Galicia specialized on red wines, although of course we produce white wines.
Sure. And you know, we kind of see where in Spain we're talking about, and I have this wonderful video that while maybe you're talking about the family history and how you began Ronsel do Sil, I'll just let that play in the background because it's beautiful and really, really stunning to see. So tell me more about how Ronsel do Sil began and why Ribeira Sacra is so special, because everyone is about to see how beautiful of a region. There's no place like this on the planet. I mean, there's other really beautiful regions, but Ribeira Sacra is so special, so steep, so intense, right on the river Sil. And one thing I do want to point out, and you'll hear it again, but Maria Jose said heroic viticulture. And that is what this land is about, because it is steep and crazy. I don't know how you do what you do. It's amazing. But share your story more, and I'll play this video for everyone.
Okay.
I am
familiar. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I am María José Yravedra, owner and winemaker of Ronsel do Sil. This is a family project, and we work together with my husband and my 4 daughters. I am architect and I am enologist. And as an interesting element of Ribeira Sacra landscape identity, we should consider the terraces of the landscape. that we building first of Roman times and developed from the Middle Age by monastery monks.
Mm-hmm. So yes, it is a land of ancient terraces built by the Romans, even though the Phoenicians came here first, and then later on it became a land of monasteries. And now we are in a pandemic, and I want to mention how wine was always essential in this land, especially during these terrible pandemics of the Middle Ages, and how wine was drunk instead of water in these monasteries, who cultivated wine as a precious, a very, very precious thing.
Wow. Wow. It's, I think, and as this video plays, this really shows the steep slopes and the area. Tell me about the soil here. What is the soil made of?
El suelo.
Yes, the soil is granitic, slate, and quartzita too. There are 5 subzones different with different climate. And the soil is the principal element that identifies of Ribeira Sacra. The granitic soil is the subzone of Ribas do Sil, el río Sil. The wines are very flower, with very fresh, because the soil have a natural acidity, and the slate is the subzone of river Bay. The climate is more continental. Okay. The wines are more Mediterranean characteristics, and are very, very different wines. And we work with 2 subzones, with granitic and slate soil.
Okay.
Yeah, and we make sure that the brands are separated this way. So even though we work with the same varietals, sometimes, even though it's the same, we separate the brand just because the soil is different, because the characteristics of the wine change drastically just because of the soil.
Really? Okay, that's amazing. And what is the elevation of where you're located in Ribeira Sacra?
¿Cuál es la elevación?
Sí, nosotros trabajamos en 2 elevaciones. Los suelos graníticos tienen una altitud entre 300 y 550 metros. Todos estos suelos están en el Valle del Sil y, por tanto, el cañón del Sil nos trae ese clima atlántico, muy frío, con toques salinos que se perciben en los aromas, esa frescura, la sutilidad de los aromas florales. En cambio, los suelos de pizarra de la subzona del río Vivey son unas altitudes entre 500 y 700 metros. Es un clima algo más continental, es un clima que tiene aromas más especiados y que provoca una estructura mayor en boca. Son diferentes, aunque están las 2 subzonas dentro de la denominación de origen Ribeira Sacra.
That one of the fascinating things about Ribeira Sacra is precisely that it has 2 subzones. So one of them has in between 300 and 550 meters of elevation. Okay. And this one is the granitic soil section, subregion, and the wines are more Atlantic, they're fresher, they have a more flowery character, okay. There's a little bit of saltiness in them. And then there's the other subzone in the Bay River, because the granitic section is in the shores of the Sil River. So the Vivet subzone is more Mediterranean, more spices. It's a little bit more continental. And the elevation there is from 500 to 700. So it
much
is
higher. Wow.
Much higher, yes.
So on this map, so you're in Parada do Sil, right?
Mm-hmm.
So kind of this zone, and this is the Sil coming through here. And where's the Vivet?
¿Dónde está Vivet, mamá?
De Vivet, justo entre el color verde y el color marrón.
So right in
O sea,
between.
mira, aquí donde pone a Pobra de Tribes, que está aquí el río Vivet, en perpendicular.
Right.
A la derecha, ahí es esa línea que baja perpendicular, ahí el río Vivet es la línea perpendicular más a la derecha, en amarillo. Es un afluente del río Sil, porque nos separa de la denominación de origen Valdeorras, que so ya es más llana.
So it is lower than that. So Bryan, it's right in that kind of brown peninsula at the bottom.
Yeah, okay, down here.
There is that yellow line crossing in the white space. That's where the Vivet zone is.
Okay, great.
O sea que la franja que veis en verde es Ribas do Sil y todo lo que veis marrón es la subzona de Quiroga Vivet.
Okay.
Exactly.
So Vivet is kind of in the brown zone, and then you're in the green. And
correct.
How much or how many hectares of grapes do you farm?
Nosotros propias tenemos 7 hectáreas, pero tenemos 2 viticultores muy mayores, de los que hemos aprendido mucho desde injertar, desde las técnicas más antiguas de laboreo, y 2 hectáreas que tienen ellos, compramos la uva, sabiendo que nosotros siempre llevamos la viticultura, y si tenemos que poner algún tratamiento, somos nosotros los que dirigimos las estrategias de determinados tratamientos en épocas de lluvia, siempre de contacto, que nunca sean sistémicos, pero realmente es muy bonito el estar en contacto con la gente mayor, nunca cerrarse en sí mismo, sino también tener una vía de comunicación para que haya pues una comunicación entre 2 generaciones.
Okay, so we own 7 hectares, and then there are another 2 that are rented. So we buy the grape, but actually this is super interesting because we buy the grape from these really old viticulturists.
Okay.
And it has been such a learning experience from us, because it has connected us with these ancient techniques, with these really old traditions, and it has helped us not close ourselves, to not live just our life and do our own thing, but expand and not be afraid to incorporate this, to connect this like a very advanced technology with the most ancient traditions, and we trust them 100%. We control every single aspect of what they do. We work together with them, and if there is any contact treatment that we need to use during the rain season, it's us who has the last word. But they are incredible human beings, and we are so lucky to have people like that to work with.
That's fantastic.
Y respecto a esto, cuando se hace un proyecto, muchas veces hay que dejarse llevar por las sensaciones y no diseñarlo solamente en un papel o en el ordenador, sino que aquí es tan dura la viticultura que también necesitas el cariño de esos viticultores mayores que te enseñan a sobrevivir en este clima tan adverso.
Mm-hmm. So my mom is saying that when we started the project, even though we were very excited, and my mom had lots of knowledge from my grandfather, so her father, because he's a wine expert, and actually he was one of the creators of the denominations of origin in Spain, and worked on the legislation between the European Union and Spain to recognize these denominations of origin. So she had a lot of knowledge, but until you don't arrive there and you face the crazy harvests, the really steep terraces, and until you're not there, you don't realize what product where you have gotten into. It's a little bit scary, but these people like this older generation, who, by the way, are suffering so much these days and have paid such a high price in this terrible pandemic, these people have given us so much love and understanding and support that without them we wouldn't have been able to carry the project. And it has been very important to count on them, not just design something on a paper and the computer and go like a horse with blinders, but actually listening to them has been really, really helpful.
That's beautiful.
Tengo que decir que uno de nuestros viticultores, Bryan, que tiene 85 años, está muy enfadado con el médico porque él tiene gota, una enfermedad, y el médico le ha quitado 2 botellas. Y digo, bueno, pero Pedro, ¿y cuántas tomabas? Dice, bueno, 4 botellas diarias, porque el vino aquí es un alimento, no es solo un placer, sino que es uno de los pilares fundamentales de la alimentación.
Okay, so there is this anecdote. There is this viticulturist we worked with, Pedro Basalo. He's wonderful, and he went to the doctor, and the doctor took away 2 bottles of wine of his diet. And my mom said, and he was very upset with the doctor. And my mom said, but how many daily bottles were you drinking? And then he said, I was drinking 4. But it's because it's part of the culture. It's so embedded in the life of Ribeira Sacra in this generation. And this generation, the viticulturists, they actually drink the wine they make every day. It's beautiful. It's that sustainable cycle that it's a lot to learn from that.
And with what is your farming philosophy? Is it organic? Is it biodynamic? Is it natural farming? What do you do there?
Mm-hmm.
Intentamos que sea totalmente natural. La definición de vino es aquel que procede exclusivamente de la uva y por tanto no debe haber ningún tipo ni de maquillajes ni de levadura añadida en la elaboración, eso jamás. Pero para conseguir que sea un vino libre, una uva libre para poder fermentar, hace falta una viticultura también totalmente natural, porque en cuanto retocas con cualquier tipo de abono artificial o cualquier añadidura, enseguida se va a notar en la cata del vino. Por tanto, la cepa quiere un terreno pobre y la cepa quiere poco sustrato de tierra, quiere más bien mucho granito, mucha piedra, y que la raíz luche por sobrevivir y por desarrollar 10 metros hasta las escorrentías subterráneas del agua. Eso es lo que quiere la cepa, porque en realidad un vino lo que hace es transmitirte el terroir. Y cuanto menos trasloques, más desde luego vas a comunicar. Y la bodega, la filosofía es absoluta sinceridad. Y para eso pues hay que vivir aquí entre cepas. Es casi una conjunción con el tiempo, con las adversidades y luego pues por supuesto las prácticas culturales que hacemos en el laboreo. Y entonces siempre lo orgánico, por supuesto que trabajamos los compost naturales para hacer aportes naturales de compost, pero siempre la libertad absoluta.
Yes, so we believe that the best way to communicate is to not touch the ground and not touch the grape the minimum amount of minimum possible, and to use the less interventional techniques with the grape. So in order to work with a free grape, we have to let it grow this way. So we use, of course, natural compost when we need to, but we try to have the vine connected with the terroir, connected with the soil, without any makeup. My mom always uses this term when talking about these techniques that are invasive of the characteristics of the grape. It's like having a beautiful skin and putting unnecessary makeup. It actually makes it worse, and your features are like buttocks, your features are actually distorted. So she talks about how it's the way to communicate, it's to not touch the grape. And here I want to mention that we do not have a certification for biodynamic viticulture or natural viticulture, even though we carry these practices. And it's because the land here, it's actually very interesting. We don't have vineyards that have one varietal. They're just all mixed together. Okay. And they're really, really tiny pieces of land, all disseminated through the Ribeira Sacra. That's why the harvest is so difficult, because each of these sections is facing a different, it's in a different location, so the ripeness comes later in some of them because of the exposure to the sun. So so it is very hard to get a certification because of the size of the land, and almost no winery here can achieve that, because also because we work with this older generation. This older generation takes care so much of the land that sometimes it's hard to expand, the land and have one big piece of vineyard here. But we do carry all these practices.
Great. And I think what's really wonderful to see and to taste in these wines is that philosophy. Every time I open up a Ronsel de Sil bottle, I get all of that in the glass. It's not only alive and fresh, but it really speaks of this incredible land, which hopefully there's wines from all around the world that can give you that nuance, but it really takes a winemaker and a farmer that pays attention to the earth translating into the bottle to make that happen. And what I love about your wines is that happens every single time, and I love it. With that, let's start talking about wine. I'm going to start with Vel'uveyra. There's a couple different wines here. Tell me about this. This is 100% Godello.
Yes. Perfect.
So
la etiqueta son lunas. El Godello es la variedad más importante que tiene Galicia por la originalidad, por la estructura, por la grandiosidad de la uva. Siempre digo que es una variedad blanca con alma de tinto. Es casi una variedad catedralicia, muy punzante, con mucha estructura, con mucho carácter, y es autóctono de Galicia y nace en el Sil. Donde hay Sil hay Godello. Por eso el Godello ahora mismo es la variedad que se ha puesto más de moda. Ha salido un poco del anonimato, estaba escondida en Galicia, y realmente es una variedad que es tan potente que admite largas crianzas en madera, porque no se come la madera, no se come a la variedad, sino que siempre se antepone la variedad a la madera, y es una variedad muy fácil de trabajar con crianzas largas. Por eso, pues este Godello que está fermentado en barrica, estos aromas tan potentes, tan delicados, florales, aromas a hierbabuena, delicadísimos y al mismo tiempo con tanta personalidad, porque no cabe duda que un Godello solo puede ser gallego, porque nace aquí, estos son sus orígenes y eso emociona y nos llena de orgullo a la Ribeira Sacra, el tener esta variedad tan importante.
So this is a varietal we're very proud of. Actually, all Ribeira Sacra is very proud of this varietal. We say that where there is still river, there is Godello.
Okay.
So wherever the river goes, there is Godello there. So it is actually one of the most important varietals of Galicia, and it was an anonymous varietal until very recently that became very fashionable as this new white in Galicia. And my mom says it's white with the soul of a red wine. It is a wine that allows a long aging in wood because the wood doesn't kill the personality of the varietal. On the contrary, it enhances its characteristics. It's very original. It's very unique. It has a lot of structure, character. It is a strong white. It is flowery but strong. It has a very very strong personality. And I think that if someone doesn't know Godello and tries Godello for the first time, I don't think that person will stop drinking this. Yeah, because
tiene este color pajizo brillante y luego mirad qué lágrima tiene la glicerina, cómo cae en la copa, es muy untuosa la variedad, tiene mucho peso, es una variedad importante, no es una variedad así blanca que digas, bueno, sí, una variedad blanca, no es una variedad muy profunda. Y para sacar estos aromas tan varietales es imposible jamás utilizar una levadura, porque una levadura lo que hace es hacer que la fermentación vaya por otro camino y las levaduras indígenas desaparecen porque son tan sutiles que jamás se puede echar nada que pueda camuflar esta autenticidad. Por tanto, el kit para hacer este Godello es dejar que fermente solo, dejar al vino libre, con el mosto, con sus connotaciones climáticas, pero dejarlo solo que fermente. En cuanto metes algo, se debilita la variedad.
Yeah, so one of our most important practices in the winery with all the wines, but with this wine is so evident, is we do not use any extra yeast or any outside yeast. We use indigenous yeasts for every wine. For every wine, but in this one in particular, it's so noticeable when one doesn't do that. When one says it, because this varietal has such personality that when you add something extra that's external to the grape, then the fermentation goes through a different path and it loses its personality. The key to making Godello is like not touch it, because it's like this wild horse that already has so much personality that trying to restrain it, it's the worst thing for a Godello. And my mom is an architect and always connects Godello with the St. James Cathedral. If you don't know it or if you haven't visited it, it's one of the most beautiful monuments, I believe, in Europe. It's unbelievable. So, and actually one of our wines, Pórtico da Gloria, its theme is because of this cathedral, is this so it's a very important varietal.
Is this fermented in oak barrels or in stainless steel or?
La fermentación de este vino.
En barrica de segundo año. Muchas veces si compramos alguna barrica nueva, lo que hacemos es que durante un año la tenemos pues con agua, con cítrico, con tartárico y vamos cambiando continuamente ese agua para que pierda madera, porque realmente no nos interesa que la madera se funda con el Godello. Lo que nos interesa es que los microporos de la madera lo que hacen es ayudar a que fermente el vino, pero al mismo tiempo nunca se va a oxidar. Por tanto, el contenedor de la madera nos ayuda a fermentar espontáneamente con microoxigenación el vino. Siempre hace falta fermentar el Godello en un recipiente que permita la microoxigenación. No se fermenta en un depósito de acero inoxidable. No podría vivir la levadura.
So for this wine, we use a barrel, usually 2 years. When we buy a new barrel, we usually let it stay for 1 or 2 years with water and citrics until it wears out a little bit. Even though it's a varietal that can stand wood, it's I don't know if this is the right word, but it's a little greasy. It has this glycerin that makes
like
it
oily. Oily is a good word.
Yes, oily, so it is very strong, but still we have to be very careful. And with all our wines, well, this one in particular, this is very important, micro oxygenation. So having exactly the pores of the wood always help the Godello.
Well, the wine is so fresh and so beautiful. I find Godello to be so exciting. Like you were saying, Enriquetta, like this grape is inviting and so sexy. It's such a great variety that just makes
actually so fashionable in Spain right now. Like it's
really?
everywhere in supermarkets that where you wouldn't expect to find this varietal. Right now, it's like kind of a birth of a varietal that was a little bit on the shadows.
Yeah, it's very driven. It has beautiful acidity, lime and great pear, but then also mineral, like so much mineral and terroir that I think is beautiful. So let's talk. So is the Ourive all Dona Branca? Is this also vinified in oak barrel?
También en madera, se fermenta en madera.
La Dona Branca es una variedad antiquísima. Data incluso anterior del Godello y es también autóctona. Nosotros hacemos en la Dona Branca una maceración prefermentativa. Antes de que empiece a fermentar, con la uva entera, tiene una maceración pelicular de 24 horas en acero inoxidable para que los tioles, donde están todos los aromas en la piel de la uva, se cedan poco a poco. Por tanto, es una variedad tan sutil, tan delicada, que lo que hacemos es hacer una maceración pelicular muy cuidada. Y luego ya sí entra en una barrica, pero así como en el Godello son barricas de 300, aquí utilizamos barricas de 600 litros para que tenga menos superficie en contacto con la madera y que por tanto el sello de la madera sea aún más invisible.
So this varietal is very delicate, so we use pre-fermentation maceration, so for 24 hours, so that the aromas on the skin start to be released very little by little, because it's so delicate. And this varietal is even older than Godello. This is actually like one of the most ancient varietals we carry. We don't even know when it appeared, but it's really old. So yeah, it is very special wine.
This wine for me has...
Realmente, es realmente una experiencia el poder probar un monovarietal de esta variedad que está prácticamente extinguida. Ronsel es la única bodega que elabora en Ribeira Sacra un 100% de Dona Branca.
So we are the only winery in Ribeira Sacra to produce 100% Dona Branca.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's actually almost extinguished. It's very hard to find. And we were so lucky to, have the grape and be able to make it.
How old are these vines?
¿Cuánto edad tienen estas viñas? Edad.
150 años. Son
150
cepas
years old.
antiquísimas,
Whoa.
antiquísimas.
Yeah, really.
Apenas dan uva, muy pocos racimos, las
Really
cavamos
few,
a mano.
yeah, really
Las
few
cavamos,
clusters.
It's a
las cavamos
beautiful
para
grape.
que no tengan competencia de malas hierbas y hacemos una cavadura alrededor para que respire la cepa y viva más años. Es casi como, las tratamos como alguien de nuestra familia.
So my mom says we treat these vines as a grandfather from our own family. We try to make them live longer, and we dig around it so that it grows better, and we take care of them like our own family members.
I love it. I love it. This wine to me it's all about texture. And when you say how old these vines are, I realize that's what's happening on my palate. It goes so long and it has so much structure while being, fresh. It still has beautiful, clean acidity, really robust fruit, wonderful minerality, some floral tones, and then also like that. The texture is not only broad on the palate with like structure, but also kind of, you mentioned kind of oily. I don't know if this is an oily grape as well, but this has
Yes, absolutely.
a neat viscous texture while not being clingy. It's not sticky. It's absolutely stunning. I love this wine. These are all very small production wines, obviously, too, especially as we get into some of these single variety top tier things. So I want to move into, should I start with the Alpendre or the Vel'uveyra reds?
¿Qué prefieres, Alpendre o Vel'uveyra ahora?
Quizá estaría bien terminar con el Mencia. Yo casi empezaría por Alpendre, porque Alpendre se toma también frío. La temperatura para tomar el Godello, la temperatura perfecta son entre 11 y 12 grados. La Dona Branca a 13 grados, porque tiene una sutileza de tal calibre que se perderían parte de los aromas florales si lo enfriamos demasiado. Y, por ejemplo, este Godello se puede ensamblar perfectamente con una carne suave, por ejemplo.
Eso luego al final. Ahora vamos a hablar de Alpendre.
Vale. Perfecto.
So the Alpendre is 100% Merenzoa, which is the same grape as Trousseau, and kind of it came via the Camino de Santiago trail at some point. So it came from France, landed through Galicia, was planted. And this is one of my favorite grapes. When we met long ago, I've been obsessed with this wine. And this is the new vintage 2018. And yeah, tell me about how this is vinified. Is this also starts in oak or in ox, or how's this made?
Inox o madera.
No, nos fermenta en fudre, en un fudre troncocónico de madera de solo 2.700 litros, es pequeño.
2,700 liters.
Okay.
La producción de este vino es muy exclusiva. Es una variedad prácticamente extinguida por la dificultad que tiene en viña el llegar a término toda la maduración fenólica, muy sensible a la humedad, necesita una aireación determinada, una conducción en vaso para que quede libre la copa de la cepa queda libre de hojas en el interior, pero está totalmente protegida por las hojas y fluye la brisa para que no se pudra. Es muy complicado llevar a término esto.
Very beautiful and very difficult varietal because the humidity affects the varietal a lot.
Okay.
So it needs to have phenolic maduration. So and the pruning of this varietal of these vines is really complicated. Actually, my mom does a great job. It's like that's why she cut my dad's hair so well in the pandemic, because I think she's so good at cutting the exact amount of leaves in this vineyard. We wanted to have our hair cut by her. So yeah, you have to keep it protected, but at the same time let the air flow so that there's never, you know, too many clusters, or that humidity can really destroy these grapes, especially towards the end of the summer, right before harvest. We are always, you know, with our heart on a feast, just so stressed out about the Merenzoa in the last few weeks, because things can go wrong. But this year it looks very good, and we're very excited.
Good. It's this for me. I think the expression is it's still young. This 2018 is very young, and I'm excited to just watch it unfold itself. But it's so floral. It's so pretty. It's like roses. You know, like purple roses and red roses and white roses all together in a bouquet, while being really full of like kind of that brambly mountain fruit, brambly like wild blueberries or wild blackberries, and it just has this kind of tartness from that fruit, but also some of that rich mountain style and grip and earthiness. It's so complex.
I love your description. I will add to that the kind of a pink pepper, like red pepper, a little bit of spiciness that goes really well with some exotic foods, with some Asian food. This wine goes really well.
Tiene unos toques a licor de guinda, de cereza, que es una variedad única.
Cherry,
y una cosa que además nos gusta de la Ribeira Sacra es que no tenemos las variedades globalizadas o mayoritarias del mundo, porque aquí no tenemos ni el Cabernet, ni la Merlot, ni la Syrah, porque trabajamos con más de 20 variedades aquí.
We work with more than 20 varietals, and all of them are indigenous varietals of the Ribeira Sacra.
Entonces no necesitamos engordar la lista de variedades de la denominación de origen con otras variedades, porque tenemos tantas, tan diferentes. Unas tienen acidez, las otras tienen estructura, las otras aromas, que es algo único el poder trabajar así.
Yeah, that we don't need to fatten or to engross the list of varietals, because we actually can work with so many that it's we're so lucky every day.
That's amazing. I love it. So should I now go to the Pie del Cañon, the Caiño, or to Vel'uveyra?
¿Qué prefieres?
Okay, lo que tú digas.
Whatever you prefer.
Either way. Let's do then the Pie del Cañon, the Caiño blend. This is I love the story here, because this is the new vintage 2017 Pie del Cañon, which is a blend of 3 Caiño grapes. And in 2016 you made separate Caiño, but in 2017 you put the 3 together, made very small. I mean, 1 barrel. I mean, it was very tiny production. And I am obsessed with this wine. I think it's so beautiful.
I want to mention how there is a double meaning on the label. So Alpendre del Cañon, it means at the bottom of the canyon. That's the actual translation. But in Spain, we use this expression when someone is ready for whatever may come. So this is an expression that we use when someone is always, willing to take whatever risks and challenges, and ready to go and fight, So I think this is like a motto for us, because we depend so much on the climate. We don't touch anything, and we try to not touch the grape at all. And this is a great thing on one hand, because the climate and the of the year is so evident in every wine. But on the other hand, it's scary. We depend 100% on whatever the climate and the weather might bring us. So Al Pie del Cañon, not only we love the wine because of the grape, because of the Caiño and the story behind it, and how we decided to get it out, but also because of the expression and what it means for us, the fight.
Es la variedad más antigua de la Ribeira Sacra, data del siglo VIII, y si hacemos un árbol genealógico, todo parte del Caiño y del Merenzoa. Por tanto, estamos tomando historia en la copa, no solo el paisaje de la viña, sino también una historia profunda del cristianismo, de los primeros eremitas, de los primeros siglos, del Camino de Santiago.
Right,
Entonces, claro, todo esto emociona mucho.
Yes,
es una variedad exclusiva.
How these wines, it's not just drinking the wine, of course, and the indigenous varietals and the landscape, but also history, because Merenzoa and Caiño are really old. We believe, my mom has all these books, she's always studying, and she's been doing some research, and we believe it's from the 8th century. So it's drinking history as well. In every bottle is history bottled, you know.
How old are these vines?
Las viñas, que estas cuántas son?
Unos 50 años solo.
50,
pero
years.
son cepas injertadas, injertadas de otras antiguas.
Right,
Tiene unos toques muy curiosos, ahumados. Tiene un toque muy curioso, ahumado, característica de la variedad, no porque lo dé la crianza, sino que tiene ese toque que lo define. Es una variedad que entra con mucha acidez, pero que después de la fermentación maloláctica en barrica cae la acidez absolutamente. Es una variedad también que, como tiene una acidez tan elevada, también sirve para cuando necesitamos incrementar algo la acidez en otras variedades. En realidad, este depósito sirve para incrementar la acidez de manera natural. No tenemos que utilizar ningún tipo de retoque enológico de ácido tartárico ni de nada, porque realmente tenemos esta variedad que da la acidez perfecta a los vinos.
So my mom is saying how the fact that we have so many varietals is with so many different personalities is like having a lab with so many things to work with. It's like a kid in a playground. And she says how this varietal has it's a lot of acidity when it arrives at the winery, the grape. Then it drops throughout the process, just naturally through fermentation. But we use it often when we need to increment the acidity of a wine. So we never use tartaric. We don't need it. We just use Caiño.
Right. Oh, cool. That's awesome. It's wonderfully fresh. Like the fruit on it is very ripe, but just the good kind of ripe. It's not overripe. It's if you had a big bowl of red and black.
So sorry.
No problem. No, it's like if you had a big bowl of red and black cherries and you just pick out the best ones. It's like that. Where those cherries are perfectly acidic and also really well fruited. It has that structure and that wonderful.
Absolutely.
It just makes me happy on my palate. It's so delicious.
Yeah, and to that I want to add it's a little bit smoky.
It is a little bit smoky, yeah.
So it puts everything together. It connects all these characteristics. It's very unique wine. I don't think I've had anything similar to this. So hard to kind of compare to something. Yeah. It's very, very unique.
Well, and at the same time has the body of, say, good Cru Beaujolais. It has it's not a heavy grape. It's Gamay, right. Pinot Noir, Caiño, like it kind of sits in that blend. So
absolutely.
Let's talk about the Mencia blends. So the Vel'uveyra, there's one kind of Joven style and one is Crianza with a little bit of oak, correct? So
correct.
Same exact wine, same grapes, same everything, but with aging and not aging, right?
Correct.
Ok, pues la Mencia es la gran variedad de la Ribeira Sacra, es la mayoritaria y realmente es la estrella un 70% de lo que se elabora en Ribeira Sacra es mencia. Es la piedra angular del paisaje. Y en este caso es 85% de mencia y un 15% que son el resto de variedades. Es decir, que tiene garnacha tintorera, un porcentaje, un 5% de mouratón, que es otra variedad ancestral muy antigua. Podemos decir que es el paisaje representado en este vino, ¿eh? Y bueno, es una variedad muy profunda, con un color cereza y con tonos violetas de brillos características de la mencia de Ribeira Sacra, muy floral, muy fácil de beber, porque solo tiene 12 grados y medio. Realmente el tomar un vino de 12 grados y medio, que puedes tomar 2 copas perfectamente, con esta franqueza, con esa pureza, entra la uva en cajas pequeñas de 20 kilos, se selecciona a mano, se carreta a mano en los hombros, no utilizamos tractores ni ningún tipo de cosechadora, sino que es todo manual, pues el poder probar una mencia así, pues es único también, ¿eh?
Okay, so this varietal, of course, represents Ribeira Sacra. It's the kind of the pillar of Ribeira Sacra. It's the most abundant grape there. Between 70 and 85% of all the grape in Ribeira Sacra is Mencia.
Okay.
And the rest of the percentage are other varietals, and we wanted to represent that on this wine.
Okay.
So actually 85% of this wine is Mencia, and the other 15% are the other red varietals of the Ribeira Sacra, the Mouraton and the Garnacha Tintorera.
Right.
So it represents the landscape. We wanted to kind of do an ode to this beautiful.
Kind of the word Vel'uveyra is similar, yes?
It means to look at the vineyard. It's an imperative of look at the vineyard. So actually,
like this.
Exactly. Exactly. That's Vel'uveyra. That's exactly the label.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly what we wanted to represent. The colors in the fall are really beautiful, and it's just worthy to go to Ribeira Sacra in the fall, only in the fall, to see this.
To see these grape colors, the leaves change color. It's absolutely stunning. And these wines for me are so alive and so fresh. This Vel'uveyra, the unoaked version, is just dynamite. It's so expressive and so very fresh, so much fruit and so much like minerality from the terroir. I taste Ribeira Sacra in this, and it's neat. I didn't realize that the blend, the 85%, was representative of Ribeira Sacra, which is beautiful. That helps me translate this so much easier. So it's a really
and also this one is easy to drink. It only has 12.5 of alcohol, so it is a wine that you can drink literally, on a lunch before an important meeting. It's a wine that doesn't feel heavy. It's flowery, and at the same time has this very strong structure, very fruity. It's just very pleasant to drink, and you never, opening a bottle of wine is a party, but you can do it can be an everyday act. Opening a Vel'uveyra Mencia can be an everyday thing.
All the time. It's so.
La etiqueta son uvas y lunas, porque nos guiamos por las lunas para los trasiegos, para las podas, y realmente pues representa la viticultura heroica de la Ribeira Sacra, porque el vendimiar todo a mano. Yo ahora estoy preparando 2 cuadrillas de 10 personas con 3 carretadores para coger las cajas encima, y a veces necesito que veáis las imágenes de la vendimia porque es algo único en el mundo. Tan solo existe ya un 2% de viticultura heroica en el mundo. Se está abandonando porque realmente no son unos vinos para el negocio o para hectáreas y kilos, sino que son vinos con alma, que transmiten mucho más allá de un negocio. Esto solo se hace con pasión y amor, porque vel, la palabra vel en galego, significa no solamente mira la viña, sino que significa ven aquí y enamórate de mí. Eso significa vel, Vel'uveyra.
So this is so beautiful. I don't think I can translate it exactly as my mom said it, but I'll do my best. So she says that it's a great wine to close this tasting because it not only represents, of course, this very important varietal that we work with, but also, in the label, she also wanted to show it's the grapes and then moons, because the moons, it's this ancient tradition that guided viticulturists to know when to, pick the grapes and when to trasiegos, I don't know that word in English, but when to make the decisions, of the wine process, the winemaking process. And she says that the harvest, it's this heroic viticulture, it is real, and only 2% in the world only 2% of the harvest in the world is heroic viticulture. It's extinguishing because it's not a business. You cannot make a business just to earn money. It's impossible. Yeah. You can only carry a project like this if you are passionate about it 100%, if you breathe the wine, if you dream of the wine like my mom does. Really, it's like, now I'm going to speak as a daughter, but the hard work that my mom puts in this, not just hard work and discipline, but love. Like, I can tell you, also all my family, some wineries say it's a family winery. This is an authentic family winery. We all do our work for the winery. All my sisters, we're all gonna go to harvest, and okay. My dad too. So it is a teamwork, and really we hope that the client can taste this love and passion and how it's beyond just a business, or this is like soul. This is our life. This is really our life is based on this.
Well, Maria, Jose, Enriquetta, like I taste that in every bottle that I drink of Ronsel de Sil, and it's why it makes me so proud and so honored to be able to represent your wines here in the States. I really, really adore what you're doing, and thank you for those words there at the end, both of you, because it is really representative of what we try to focus on with Bon Vivant Imports as a whole is this passion project. None of us are making money in this world, but we have so much love and so much passion for what happens in this glass because of what happens in that land. And I thank you for it. And I thank you for your time. And
we thank you for also your passion, your dedication, and how well you describe the wines. This is also for us great because we see how amazingly you describe the wines, and we know we have the greatest ambassadors of our wines there.
Well, thank you. And stick around after the video because Enriquetta is also a professional pianist, and we have a wonderful video that I'll add on to the end of her playing the piano with Ronsel de Sil wines everywhere. So thank you both, and take care. Have a great harvest.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you very much, Bryan.
Thank you.